Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to Basketball Conference, the ACC Football Podcast. My name's Joey Weaver. He's Mike McDaniel. Mike, week 10 in the books. How you doing? You ready to talk about some games?
I am. Hope you guys enjoyed watching. What do they have on Saturday afternoons on non-ESPN channels that don't include the college football ones? Some cooking, maybe some cooking television.
Some Big Ten football.
Yeah. You could watch like Michigan State team total under 20.5 hitting in overtime, for example. That was fun. I enjoyed that.
Team total under 20.5 in overtime. That's a new one.
They don't draw pictures on the scorecard for our sickos picks, do they?
They do not.
That's a winner, ladies and gentlemen. That is a winner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, hell of a weekend for trying to watch games. Considering it was, I had been seeing a couple things maybe before we did the preview, but it was afterwards that it really became real. That the YouTube TV ESPN conflict was really going to the mat, and it hasn't been resolved yet, to my knowledge. I know that threw a wrench into a lot of people's viewing plans over the weekend, trying to find alternative routes. We went through and ended up doing a day pass with Sling TV.
Yep, me too.
I know some people chose to sail the high seas, as one does. But,
well said.
Who's to say? Devin Hamilton bought ESPN Plus just to watch the game. And Dennis, the ESPN YouTube pissing contest is just wow. Nobody's really happy about this. And that obviously, as mentioned, threw a real wrench into the watching plans for this weekend. So all to say, Mike, I'm going to do my best, but I did not have a quad box at my disposal this weekend. So we're going to do our best here.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, as much as I enjoyed the Sling TV experience because they were at least broadcasting the games yesterday, the lack of a multi-view feature was a pretty damning mark against them, I would say. Now, I did enjoy the fact that it was day pass and I only had to pay $5 and I got to watch what I needed to watch yesterday. So I did like that aspect of it, that I could just pay $5 and my problem is essentially solved. But it's annoying. Very annoying. Yeah, I mean, the consumer shouldn't be losing like this, truthfully. Like, total bullshit.
Right. Well, and I mean, feels pretty clear to me that this is a bit of a power play from ESPN trying to strong arm probably at this point one of, if not their single biggest consumer, a distributor in YouTube TV, so that they can get people to convert over to their new over-the-top app. Just, throwing out theories here. It could be anything, but that sure seems like the thing that would make the most sense. So
it would. Did you who was your favorite anchor that was tweeting messages at you to, let your subscriber know that they should, go to keepmynetwork.com or whatever? Like, who was your favorite ESPN personality that tweeted that out at you?
Had to be Stephen A. Smith.
Yeah.
If you don't go to your provider and tell them to re-up ESPN, you won't be able to see First Take anymore, which I was like, that sounds like an incentive. Like I've been avoiding that like the plague for a decade now.
Yeah.
So maybe I should get rid of it. I don't know.
Yeah. I like it. Like, it's the consumer's fault that the stations are going away. I enjoyed that. It's like, oh, you guys didn't make enough phone calls, so we're just going to keep getting into a corporate bidding war over things.
Yep. And if you're listening to this right now and you're saying things like, why are we talking about TV streaming rights 4 minutes into a podcast like this? Well, welcome to college football in 2025, where TV contracts are everything, apparently, which, we'll talk about the Clemson Florida State game.
I was going to say,
that's objectively hilarious.
You beat me to it. Yeah, they're going to be on a non-Nielsen rated television station next Saturday because neither one can get out of their own way. Congrats to Florida State on the win, though, Saturday. Congrats to the Noles getting on the board.
We'll get there. Mike, we're live, youtube.com/@the ACC Football Podcast. It is a few minutes after 11 o'clock on the East Coast. It is Sunday, November the 2nd. We are specifically on YouTube right now. As the people might know, if you hadn't heard already, we are having real issues with Spotify right now, which is where we had been hosting all of our audio specific content. We will have that resolved by the time we come around to do the preview episode later this week. But I want to let you know, if you're wondering where did the preview from last week go, why did that not hit my podcast inbox? That's why. It is a Spotify issue. We addressed it in the preview episode for this week. We have a solution in the works. It will be resolved here in the next 48 hours, I would say, from the time that we're recording this. So please keep tuned here on Apple, Amazon, iHeartRadio, apparently, or wherever else you get your podcasts in audio format. This should resume finding its way into your feed here in the next couple of days.
Yep. Yeah, it should.
So
we're working on it. Like, we actively have a plan and we're gonna execute against it. We've been trying to sort some things out with Spotify, but yeah, you're basically just talking to a wall. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. You're talking to a wall. So if you ever run into issues with Spotify, best of luck.
Yeah. If you ever want to talk to Spotify GPT, by the way, go find at Spotify Cares on Twitter, because they've got some really good bot responses coming your way, for the record. Mike, you want to get into a Rhoback rapid recap?
Spotify does not care. I would.
Let's do that. Use promo code GOACC20 at checkout for 20% off your first order at Rhoback.com. All sorts of phenomenal apparel, polos, hoodies, other t-shirts, athleisure wear, joggers, shorts. They got all sorts of stuff there. They got the game day collection, almost the entire ACC on there. Go check it all out. Rhoback.com. Use promo code GOACC20 at checkout for 20% off your first order. We would appreciate that, and I think you'll appreciate it too, because their stuff is phenomenal if you haven't had any already. I was wearing some at church this morning. I wear it to work. I wear it on the golf course. It goes anywhere and everywhere. It all looks fantastic, feels fantastic. Highly recommended.
They got a lot of good stuff.
They sure do.
A lot of good stuff.
They sure do.
Can you vamp for 10 seconds?
I can. I should probably mention to the people that producer Scott not with us tonight.
Yep. That's
producer
why
Scott.
I'm doing this. Timestamps.
There you go. Timestamps. Yeah, that's important. Producer Scott was at a wedding this weekend. Was apparently a seasoned veteran around the open bars and trying to ride the wave without like really totally coming down, but needed some rest here on Sunday night. So
yeah.
We will give him the night off, and I'm sure he'll be with us on the preview on Wednesday.
All right, we're good.
Rhoback rapid recap. We could set a timer, but or we don't have to. Why bother? Mike, you ready?
3, 2, 1, go, Joey.
Friday night, North Carolina 27, Syracuse 10. North Carolina gets off the schneid. Syracuse is starting a lacrosse player at quarterback. Things getting a little bit weird at Syracuse, if I'm being honest. Like, I realized things hadn't gone well for a few weeks with Ricky Collins, but like, wasn't this the spot to start him? I don't really understand what's going on with Fran Brown right now.
Lacrosse player, a quarterback, a man after Bill Belichick's heart is one Fran Brown. Joseph Filardi is the quarterback in question, 4 of 18 for 39 yards. Kobe.
Is that good?
It's fucking horrible. It's really bad, Joey. It's really bad.
This sounds in there somewhere. We'll get to that in the recap.
Yeah, it's fine.
By the way, fun moment in this game. Joseph Filardi was 0 for 6, and also Syracuse was up 7-3 because the Orange got a scoop 6 late in the first quarter, and
yeah, wasn't perfect.
Those count too.
Wasn't perfect from Carolina. They still do the whole fumbling thing every now and then.
That's
but
right.
Hey, the Heels are playing better on the board.
Defense played well. Offense found a way to score some points. Good on the Heels. They got off the schneid, and Bill Belichick officially ACC game winner. Congratulations to him.
Congratulations to him, indeed.
On to Saturday in the order that they are on my screen. NC State 48, number 8 Georgia Tech 36. Georgia Tech's defense has still not gotten a stop since we did the preview, basically. CJ Bailey was basically unconscious in this game. Duke Scott also nearly unconscious for NC State. They were not going to be stopped at all. They racked up well over almost 600 yards of offense against Georgia Tech's defense. shout out to the Wolfpack. I mean, they played probably their best game of the year. They beat Georgia Tech's ass up and down the field, and Georgia Tech had a couple of bad moments, not being able to finish drives, and that was all the difference that you needed to lose this game. Throws a wrench into the ACC championship race situation, as does another game here in a little bit, but we'll get there.
NC State almost 600 yards of offense without Hollywood Smothers, Justin Julia, their star tight end, and multiple offensive linemen. Bad look for Georgia Tech's defense, really bad.
Lot to get into there. Also a lot to get into. SMU 26, number 10 Miami 20 in overtime. Is this kind of just where we're at with Mario Cristobal's Miami, Mike? Because it just feels like there's a ceiling here that they're going to find ways to lose games every year.
I have a question. What the hell were they doing at the end of regulation? What are they doing?
Why try?
Why try? I mean, just hand it to SMU to get this game tied, why don't you? What are we doing?
It's not like you have a quarterback that you paid almost $4 million a year for that you with 25 seconds that you could maybe try to find a way to get into a pretty healthy field goal range for your kicker. You also made sure to save SMU a timeout throwing passes shortly before the 2-minute warning. Mario Cristobal game management special, perhaps.
Yeah. I think it's worth a discussion. Carson Beck now has 6 interceptions and Miami's 2 losses, so that's notable.
Yep. And multiple excuses in the post-game press conferences too, but we'll get there.
Brett Lashley enjoyed those.
Yeah. Number 12 Notre Dame 25, Boston College 10. Impressive effort, honestly, from Boston College because
sorta
they kept this close. Like the defense played their tails off, did what they had to. It took Jeremiah Love saying, "I'm done with this," basically early in the fourth quarter to really get a little bit of margin. But I mean, Boston College made this uncomfortable for a while. I don't know that you really felt like they were going to actually go and win the game, but a team that had shown some quit in them in previous weeks, they didn't show it here.
Notre Dame, 2 missed extra points, missed field goal, a fumble in the red zone, just sloppy. But whatever. Boston College, by the way, they did the whole quarterback roulette thing again.
Yeah. Which
we saw both guys. I mean, they started Dylan Lonergan for reasons I'm still trying to figure out, and then he threw a pick. Then they brought in Grayson James, who played basically the remainder of the game, threw 2 more picks. So that was, if they had any sort of quarterback, this game could have been real dicey for Notre Dame.
Yeah. We'll get into that game. I don't know how much we got to talk about it, but we will.
We don't need not too much.
Number 15, Virginia 31, Cal 21. This was a 3-point game with less than a minute to go. And then there was another defensive touchdown for Virginia that gave them a little bit of margin and got them the cover here in a game that I believe both you and producer Scott had Cal plus, 5.5 locked up? That's plus. A bad beat, Scott Van Pelt.
Cal plus, yeah. Congrats to Virginia. So I don't sound like a total hater. Congrats to Virginia. They are now the 12th ranked team in the AP poll.
Yep.
So that's good. That's very good. They are atop the ACC standings, undefeated still, 5-0 in league play. And take care of business. And you're in Charlotte. What could go wrong?
100%. Keep going.
Yep.
Is there? We probably don't have to talk about that game anymore. I think that really encompassed the whole thing, right?
We'll get that. We'll get to that later.
All right, maybe one or two things we'll talk about. Anyways, number 16, Louisville 28, Virginia Tech 16. Weird game, honestly. I kind of felt like, very field position dependent.
Yep.
Virginia Tech had a couple of touchdown drives that I think maxed out at 55 yards, and Louisville was not sharp, but ultimately did enough to get the win here.
Louisville held Virginia Tech to 99 total yards of offense in the second half. So this was a coaching clinic by Brom and Co. in the second half in terms of halftime adjustments and finding stuff that worked. Kyron Drones just cannot complete a forward pass with any sort of reliability. So that's hard to do, as we mentioned in the preview. That's pretty hard to do against a good Louisville defense. Like if Virginia Tech wanted any chance of actually winning this game, they would have needed to get a little bit more out of the passing game, because eventually Louisville will slow down the run, and that's exactly what they did in the second half. Yeah, decent showing by Virginia Tech, though. I mean, leading at halftime, played hard, all that good stuff, but you ran into Louisville's a good team, like a good, well-coached team.
Yeah, I think so.
Miller Moss, a little bit of a jag, but it's fine.
I was going to say, Louisville just needs to win out. They'll go to Charlotte, I think, and I'm sure that won't possibly ever be a problem with Miller Moss playing quarterback. So
right, certainly not. Would love to see that in the playoff. Would love to see that in the playoff.
Oh yeah, goodness gracious. Duke 46, Clemson 45. First of all, holy shootout, Batman. Second of all,
crazy game.
Yeah. Second of all, yeah, very sketchy pass interference penalty towards the end that really
horrendous
benefited Duke. And then Duke scores, goes for 2, and gets it to win the game outright in regulation there in Death Valley. Shout out to the Blue Devils. Hey, you put up 46 points on that Clemson defense and what they're supposed to be with Tom Allen and everything. Like, you know what? You earned it. You earned it.
Pretty sure this was Duke's first win in Death Valley in like 50 years or something like that. 55. Was it 1970?
It was this. I think it was somewhere in the 70s. Yeah, it was the stat that I saw. Yeah, probably about 50 years.
Preposterous.
Yeah. Question for later, Mike. What are we doing with Davos winning?
Fair question.
Moving on. Pitt 35, Stanford 20. Pitt does not fall into the trap and kind of just took care of business. This was never really like all that in doubt, I guess. I mean, Pitt just kind of owned this game. It was a little bit close at halftime, but like, Mike, Pitt looks good right now.
I have a take.
Mm-hmm.
If Mason Heinschel was starting from game 1, would Pitt have lost a game yet?
I can't tell you that they would have.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is probably, frankly, one of the bigger mysteries nationally with college football right now is like, what happened with Eli Holstein that like he was definitely the better guy in camp and in practice and all that. That 4 games in, they're 2-2. They replace him with Mason Heinschel, and then
money.
I guess. I don't know. It's kind of bizarre, but yeah, I mean, Pitt just keeps rolling, and now they get into the final gauntlet of their schedule, basically.
Yep.
And yet, you going to tell me they can't win 2 out of 3 against Notre Dame, Georgia Tech, and Miami? I'm not going to tell you that.
Might be seeing Pitt in Charlotte.
You might. Don't count out the Panthers. Don't count them out.
Pretty sure we have. Well, we're over time. I was gonna make a joke about how we only had 10 seconds left, and I've gotten work done in 10 seconds before. Florida State 42.
We'll leave that one alone.
Yeah, Florida State 42. Wake Forest 7. Joey. This was.
I know I saw that going.
This was 42-0 at one point.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, starting to seem like Deshaun Purdy can't do it.
Yep. Maybe switch back to the other guy. I was going to say, maybe switch back to the other guy, Robbie Ashford, who maybe Auburn should turn back to. Because, my God, that was Hugh Freeze, fired, by the way.
Yeah. But, hey, you know what? I'm going to try not to, like, retch when I say this. Credit where it's due. Florida State played a good game. I was really shocked that they totally avoided the letdown, came out and imposed their will on Wake the way that they did. Like, this team has shown a lot of signs of quitting in recent weeks, and they did not see any of it this week. They played really well, I thought.
Deuce cooked.
Yeah.
Deuce cooked.
Tommy Castellanos did not look nearly as banged up as we thought he might be going into that game. So
healthier.
You know, we'll see if the Noles can maybe find a way to finish strong. And they're out of the ACC title race at this point. But I mean, can you No, you're not going to ruin Clemson, Virginia Tech, or NC State's season at this point. So
Right.
never mind. Never mind. That's all I got in the Rhoback Rapid Recap, Mike. As a reminder, use promo code GOACC20 at checkout for 20% off your first order at rhoback.com.
Where do you want to go first?
Let's see. Well, there's a couple of pretty meaningful results. Maybe we should start with. Should we start in Dallas?
Yeah, let's start there.
Hi, Cam. SMU 26, number 10, Miami 20 in overtime.
Fun direct message from Cam, by the way.
Cam, in no uncertain terms, let us know he was unavailable for the recap this week. Yeah, this was, I don't know. Like I found myself, I did actually get to, through all the YouTube TV issues and like the lack of quad box, I actually did find myself watching a lot of this game. And like, when you look at the numbers, Miami racked up 433 yards of offense and 20 points. And it was like, they find new and exciting ways to not finish drives and not score points. It was what it really felt like watching here. Not to mention, were there a couple of questionable ones in there? Perhaps, but like 12 penalties for 96 yards. There were a lot of false starts, substitution infractions, just like procedural nonsense that, I mean, this is, I think, ultimately where I come down to the conclusion of like, when Mario Cristobal is your head coach, you're just going to lose one or two of these games every year because he's great at recruiting, he's great at hiring a staff and all that, but like when it comes down to the just basic game day operation stuff, it's just not there, Mike.
Yeah. I was looking at some stuff on Game on Paper, and they have the upside down U, which I think is very funny when Miami loses.
Our
always
guys
makes me laugh.
Shay and Jack
always makes me laugh. I don't know what to do with this from Miami's standpoint. They stopped the run in this game. They make Kevin Jennings one-dimensional, turning him into a passer, which is what you want to do.
That was fine.
That's the thing you want to do, and that was totally fine with SMU here, which is the part that's most baffling to me. Miami's had a pretty good defense this year. The fact that they allowed Jennings, who literally looked last week like he couldn't complete a forward pass against Wake Forest, throw for 365 is baffling to me. They could not cover SMU's receivers. Specifically, they couldn't cover Jordan Hudson, who had 11 for 136 in this game. I don't get it. I just don't. I don't understand it. Miami did not have a spectacular time running the ball here. Kind of got away from that a bit. The game management
to that point, though,
the fourth quarter was weird. I don't know.
The running the ball thing, I felt like it was night and day when Mark Fletcher was in the game when he wasn't. Like everyone else was kind of getting bottled up. Like SMU did a really good job of stopping him, but when Mark Fletcher was in there, he was bursting through contact, like breaking tackles. And it's weird looking at it now that he had 16 carries for 84 yards. I would have guessed he had 150 watching the game. Like, and yet then there were times I was like, he's not in the game. Like, where is he? Why is Jordan Lyle in the game right now?
Yeah, maybe there's an injury we don't know about or something, but
yeah,
I don't know. He kept coming back in and playing though, so I don't really get it. I thought we were past this with Miami. This felt like a team where we were past it, and they are really now. We're going to look back at the end of the year, and they're just going to be the same team they've been. So, Virginia Tech's talking to James Franklin, right? I saw a comparison that maybe this is what Franklin will be at Virginia Tech, which I would be ecstatic about. Distantly like
it can be an upgrade, right?
It would be a gigantic upgrade compared to what they've had. But I'm wondering, the reason why I bring that up is I wonder how frustrated Miami fans are at this point about this, because I think from a Virginia Tech fan standpoint, if they got Franklin, he brought them back to like this, and it was just like some frustrating close losses. But most years they were like 9-3. I'd be pretty happy with that relative to what they've been. Miami's kind of been that way too in some ways, but they've had more success over that they've been able to string some seasons together, right? Like they had a couple good Rick years and stuff like that. So I wonder like how mad Miami fans are about this development, and is like this what you were expecting when you got Cristobal? I have a feeling that they're really pissed off about this, obviously because of who SMU lost to last week and how SMU looked against that certain Miami rival this week, right? But also, like, by the same token, I think when Miami fans got Cristobal, they were really hoping that because of how successful he was at Oregon, that he'd be able to bring that to Miami in what is perceived to be an easier league, right? I mean, the ACC was, I mean, they still had Clemson playing well, but the ACC was still kind of like up for grabs outside of Clemson. And the Pac-12, like top to bottom, had been a bit more competitive. Like you had, of course, Clemson at the top as like a true national title contender. They didn't have in the Pac-12, and Mario was there. But I think when Miami hired Mario, they were hoping that he would be able to have more success relative to what he was able to have in the Pac-12 in what was seen as like an easier conference, especially in the middle to bottom tier. And he hasn't been able to find that at Miami. Like there's still just like these head scratching losses. I mean, the last couple of years have been crazy. I mean, the Georgia Tech kneel down situation 2 seasons ago, like I still laugh about that, right? I mean, there's that going on. You had last year, it felt like time and time again, Cam Ward had to like pull them out of the mud and like save their ass. The one particular game that came to mind, even though there were several, is that game against Cal that was on a Saturday night while we were recording the recap, where Cam essentially went crazy in the second half.
Ward,
not Underwood. Underwood went crazy too. Cam Ward went crazy in the second half to lead them back. Right. We had finished recording, and Miami went out and won the game. Like they finished the job. It was just kind of it's crazy because I thought this year the team was a lot better outside of the quarterback position, right? And I thought Carson Beck was. I still think Beck's having a fine year, but in the 2 losses, he's thrown 6 interceptions, right? He threw 4 against Louisville, and he threw 2 on Saturday. Of course, the one in overtime ended up being a gigantic play for obvious reasons. And we thought that Beck was going to be probably a step down in terms of ceiling from Cam Ward, but we thought this team around him was a lot better than the one that was around Ward last year. And maybe that's still the case, and maybe this really is just coaching, but this is a crazy result. I mean, this is insane. This is insane that they lost this game. And credit to SMU, 4-1 in the ACC. You're still in contention for Charlotte, even after that crazy Wake Forest loss a week ago. Like, you still have a chance, right, to make it to a conference title game, like get back and have a chance to get yourself back into the playoff mix. But that whole thing was weird. And then, Joey, we can get into the post-game stuff, which I would love. I would love to talk about that too.
Devin Hamilton's hitting it in the comments here.
Yeah, where we have Carson Beck calling out the play calling, saying that they were essentially just running the same thing over and over again. He was just trying to execute the play that was called. It's like, okay, that's an interesting shot at Shannon Dawson. So we're gonna go do that, right? While Shannon Dawson could easily. Would it shock you if Shannon Dawson got a head coaching job this cycle? Probably not. He could easily, he could probably
the way things are going a little bit. But
well, yeah, last couple of weeks maybe we're having a different conversation. But you have him criticizing the play calling. You have Mario Cristobal complaining about SMU pre-snap shifts and calling out the snap counts, just weak shit. And then you have Rhett Lashley now quote tweeting. Essentially Mario saying that in the post game and just ripping him a new one, absolutely ripping him a new one on social media. We weren't doing any of that. They just got beat. It's I looked that way. Looked like they just got beat.
Yeah. In fairness to Carson Beck, he had 2 interceptions in this game. One of them was the first one was, I think, in the first half. He threw a pass. I think it was Josiah Trader that bobbled it basically into an SMU defender's arms. Like, it was a good throw. It was on target. It was on the receiver that was intercepted. So I just want to make sure that we're being very clear about that. But I mean, and there's comments in here about the culture stuff, and the comments in the post game is really weak. Like, I'm judging this Miami program on what we have been sold that they are supposed to be, right? They're like a top 5 team. They were the number 2 team earlier in the year, and like they have national title aspirations, and like they're too good for the ACC and all this. Mike, they're not going to Charlotte again.
Yeah.
Like, and we're bitching about snap counts, and like, are you kidding me? Like, what is this? We're doing it again. They're not meeting expectations again. And this is Mario Cristobal. This was Manny Diaz. This was Mark Richt. And this has honestly been a little bit of a golden age of Miami football relative to what happened before that with Randy Shannon and Al Golden, and, take your pick of guys basically ever since Jimmy Johnson left, or who was it that left the national title team to Larry Coker? Like
Larry Coker. Yeah.
I'll remember the name eventually. Anyways, like, this is a 2-decade-long thing, Mike. I don't know what it is. We can't figure it out. We can talk a big game, and we can put all the pieces there that make it seem like we should be able to figure it out. And yet, when push comes to shove, and you got to focus for 12 full games, you can't even make the ACC title game. And we're here yet again. And one of the things that I think back to, and one of the things that Cam talked about in the preseason, and that we've heard national figureheads talk about, and all this stuff, Miami's got the best offensive line in the country, right? Mm-hmm. Or certainly like one of the 2 or 3 best offensive lines in the country. They didn't look good in this game. Like, they were having a hell of a time trying to run the ball. And I talked about, Mark Fletcher was able to run it. Anyone else couldn't. Why not?
Yeah.
Why can't you protect Carson Beck? 2 weeks ago against Louisville made a fool of that offensive line in that game.
Mm-hmm.
Mario's an offensive line. Like, what is going on here that, like, we talk this big game, we act like they're this infallible, over-talented thing, and they're just not.
Yeah.
It's wild to me. And that's why I'm sure we're going to get to next August or something, and we're going to be previewing the season. It's going to be like, who's Miami going to lose to? They're going to go at least 11-1, probably 12-0. Who's going to beat? Someone's going to beat them. Clearly, like they find ways to lose games under Mario, and it feels like this is a program that has a defined ceiling. And what's funny is I was thinking a minute ago, like, who do you bring in that could maybe reasonably fix this problem?
Mm-hmm.
And the first name that came to mind is, unfortunately for Miami, at one of maybe like a dozen or so programs that Miami cannot and will not be able to money whip, and has no deep set need to be at Miami. Mike Elko could fix this problem, Mike. But Miami cannot money whip Texas A&M. They cannot. Now, could they have money whipped Duke? Perhaps.
Yeah.
But your old coach is now at Duke, and that's, anyways.
Elko taking a step down to take over this mess would be something.
Mm-hmm. But Mike Elko is a guy who stepped into Texas A&M, which has its own cultural circus that was going around with Jimbo and money and like just left and right, like, and he basically stepped in and was like, I'm not doing any of this, and got everyone in line, and we're not making any noise at all. We're not talking a big game. We're just going to play football, and we're going to recruit, and we're going to coach. And look at Texas A&M. They're probably going to Atlanta here. And what is that, year 3 for them? I forget. But
they need, you said they need somebody to fix the culture. How about Manny Diaz? You mean the guy who's building culture at Duke, who's winning games at Duke? That guy who's actually not as bad of a coach as the administration seemed to think that he was? That guy? That Manny Diaz?
Yeah.
You think Manny Diaz would do what Mario Cristobal has done with these 2 rosters, the last 3 rosters, I do.
Give me 5 or 6 minutes. I'll Photoshop a picture of Manny Diaz as Miami's head coach, and we can use that as a banner here for the show.
Wouldn't have to do much photoshopping.
Yeah. Kevin Jennings was surgical in this game. I thought I was really impressed with the way that he threw the ball and was on target, on time as many times as he was. Very clearly hobbled. There was one point that he had to come out of this game because he was. I couldn't totally tell. Like, did he dislocate his ankle and have to have it put back into place, or like both his ankles were taped to hell, and it was like did the shoe come off of his foot or something? But with all the tape, like he had to, it was like after the drive, he had to had the shoe put back on. Like I couldn't really tell what happened there, but like he was hobbled and yet was able to be mobile enough, and he was effective. I was really impressed with the way that he played here as well.
Yeah, he was really good. Really good. I mean, Miami got into the game script they wanted defensively, and he cooked them anyway.
Yep. Don't look now, Mike. SMU might have a path to Charlotte. We're at some point, I don't know that it's tonight, but at some point in this show, we're gonna have to start talking about tiebreaker scenarios in the ACC, because
we have five teams with 1 loss now, 1 league loss.
Not to mention Virginia with no league losses,
undefeated at the top, right?
Yeah, exactly. So and some of this is going to sort itself out with a couple of games we've got left down the road, but there are still a couple of potential doomsday scenarios of like 3 to 4, 1 or 0 loss teams in the league that like you get into tiebreaker hell, and SMU in position to potentially be a part of that. So shout out to the Ponies.
Yep, they're back in the mix.
Yep, they are. That's all I got in this game. Anything else?
No, we're good. We can move on.
Let's move on. Should we do the other meaningful upset of the day?
Let's do it.
Let's go to Raleigh. NC State 48, Georgia Tech 30. The number 8 Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets 36. Georgia Tech's offense, I thought, played okay here. Like played well enough. They struggled to finish drives, a couple of points, but defense had 0 answers all night long for CJ Bailey and Duke Scott in particular. NC State's offense was incredible. CJ Bailey was almost perfect in this game, I thought. Like, I don't know how he could have played a whole lot better than he did. And not to mention that's passing as well as running the ball. And he didn't run it that many times, but when he did, he was incredibly effective, despite being a little bit hobbled himself, especially the entire second half, I would say. Duke Scott goes for almost 200 yards on the ground by himself, scores a touchdown. He was repeatedly getting 5 or 6 yards after contact because he wanted it more than Georgia Tech's defense did.
Yeah.
So wanted to call that out. Again, Georgia Tech's offense, I thought, moved the ball really well. There were multiple times that they got inside the 5 and were held to field goals instead of scoring touchdowns, and that's honestly kind of part of the difference in the game here and on the scoreboard. But Haynes King was good, offense was good. They did about as much as they had to here. But the story of the game, I thought, was Georgia Tech's defense losing guys in coverage. They couldn't get any pressure at all on CJ Bailey. They could not stop the run. There was basically nothing good to say about Georgia Tech's defense in this game. They did very little. I don't know really where that came from. Like, they haven't been perfect this year by any stretch of the imagination, but like just the number of mental errors and the number of things that they were just completely inept at doing was mind-blowing to me, Mike. Like I would hope that this is something that you can kind of get fixed, or maybe this is a one-off thing that Georgia Tech is going to go into a bye week. You come out and you've got 3 games left. Hopefully you can get that fixed and get back to the top 50-ish level you were playing at before. But if not, it's going to be a bumpy end of the season here for the Jackets.
Yeah, the NC State rushing attack was good here. Duke Scott was unbelievable. CJ Bailey, really, really good. I mean, like you said, played pretty much perfect game. And I thought Georgia Tech's offense was good. I mean, Haynes came through for 408. The one thing I will say about Georgia Tech's offense that continues to concern me, because we've seen it now a couple times in ACC games where I think they don't need to be doing this, is having Haynes King carry the ball 20 times when your next closest running back is carrying the ball 6 times. Malachi Hosley had 6 for 30, Jamal Haynes 6 for 14, Haynes King 20 for 103 and 2 touchdowns. We've talked about the Haynes King game script when they're playing teams like Georgia or Clemson, but why are we doing the Haynes King game script where we have to run him this much against NC State? I don't get it. I don't get it. This is an NC State team that's been fine defensively. They haven't been so good that you need to worry about like manufacturing offense on the ground through only your quarterback. That's a bit concerning for me. I know Haynes King is extremely dangerous with the ball in his hands as a runner. It opens up everything he can do through the air. I get that. I'm not saying don't run him at all. I just think proportionately it's crazy. Now, defensively, it's like, I tweeted this during the game. I watched a good bit of this. I thought it was pretty embarrassing for Georgia Tech defensively relative to what they've been at times this year. NC State giving up 36 points. Excuse me. Not a huge surprise, just given what they've been. The best part, the best of Georgia Tech's defense that we've seen, Georgia Tech's defense at its best has been better than NC State's defense at its best, I guess is what I was trying to say. So when I saw Georgia Tech kind of the guys running wide open, huge holes in the middle of the offensive line, like Scott's running like untouched up the field. He's getting to like the 3rd level before he's hit for the first time. That stuff should not be happening in game 9, right? Especially when you're in a position where you can make it to Charlotte, play for an ACC title, and get to a college football playoff. You should be playing your best football this time of year. I thought the defense was really bad. And we have been talking about, you and I kicked this around on social media a little bit. Like, when's the Brent Key game going to come? Now, to your point, this was a 4.5 point spread on the road. Like, my point is like, NC State, like, they're not like we've seen this loss against, like we've seen Georgia Tech lose to Bowling Green, for example. But how many times have we gotten on the microphone this year and talked about how bad NC State's looked? I mean, you and I were on the recap. We were even on the preview for this game talking about, you know, making jokes about the Dave Doran podcast, right? That you had like 5 years ago. We were talking about like, is this like, are you sure NC State wants to keep doing this? And we were just having the conversations about this a week ago. Like, does NC State want to keep doing this? Then they hang almost half 100 on the number 8 team in the country. It's crazy. It's a crazy performance. Like, this is a crazy outlier in some respects for Georgia Tech defense that at times has looked bad, but they haven't looked this bad consistently over the course of an entire game. And that's where I'm like, hey, guys, like, what the hell? And I'm even more mad about it because on the preview, I had been picking against Georgia Tech for weeks, not to outright lose, but like against the spread. I haven't picked Georgia Tech to lose this year, maybe outright. But on the preview, I'm even more mad about it because this week I laid them with Georgia Tech and they go out and do this. That made me even more frustrated.
Yep. It's funny looking back on last year's, you know, they went 7-5 in the regular season, and like 2 of the losses were to playoff teams. 2 of the losses were to ACC programs that I think won 9 games each in Syracuse and Louisville. The outlier was Virginia Tech, where they were on their backup quarterback, eventually went to their 3rd string quarterback. So like, it's not like it was like just a total clunker, you know, you could kind of explain it away. And like you meant, I don't know. I don't think that this is like Brent Key not having the team ready to play as much as it's like, I think eventually the rent comes due. And the defense again looked significantly worse than in recent weeks. Like, just run fits and ability to keep up with like they were losing. Like, they had guys that were just wide ass open. Like, I could make that throw level open for NC State. That, like, tell me that something was broken there. Something was off. And it hasn't happened that way this year. Like, defense hadn't been great, hadn't been that. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't really know what to make of this. There's a chance. I mean, they got a bye week. They go to Boston College. They got Pitt at home, and then they got Georgia at home. I don't think it's insane to think that they could win all three of those games. Like, they have played better at home. Georgia has been a little bit beatable. You know, you're coming, you know, off a bye, going to Boston College, a Boston College team that's had its own share of issues. Like, you could win all of those games. That's not like crazy to think. I look at this and I don't think that this tells me that this team all of a sudden sucks. Like, it's not that.
Right.
But you better clean it up, because you almost had the Brent Key game in Winston-Salem a month ago.
Yeah.
You almost had the Brent Key
qualifies. That one qualifies much more than this NC State one, in my opinion.
You found a way to not lose that game, just barely. You also almost had the Brent Key game in Durham there 2-3 weeks after that. Like, those I would absolutely say were the, like, what the hell happened here kind of game. This one, I don't know as much. NC State, I thought, played, again, a little bit unconscious on offense. Like, just, it was a perfect performance. CJ Bailey was nasty, just saw it the whole night. Duke Scott was running angry and was not going to be denied. Shout out to the Wolfpack, because and I saw this comment on social media is like, oh, as soon as I start criticizing Dave Doran is when they have their best wins. I'm really not trying to criticize Dave Doran. I'm not. And, like, good coach, one of the best ever in NC State history. I get that. Like, we were talking on the preview, but I was more referencing a thing that I talked about, I don't know, 6-7 years ago, whenever that was. And referencing that right now, it seems like it's a bit toxic between him and the fan base. It was, and it has been, and it might be next week. I don't know. Like, this is good, but, like, you're still 5-4 and 2-3 in the conference. Like, I still don't think this is where you really want to be, although this is a great win and you rush the field and that's all fun. So I don't know, like, a lot of thoughts swirling in my head after this game. One other thing I wanted to make sure that we do, Mike, is that last week we did the drive chart reading of Pitt against NC State's defense. Yeah. So let's do this for NC State against Georgia Tech's defense, if I may.
Please.
Touchdown, 3 and out, fumble, which actually is a touchdown. ESPN, it was a fumble that NC State then recovered in the end zone because, you know, there's a touchdown. Touchdown, 3 and out, touchdown, field goal, touchdown, field goal, touchdown, 3 and out. So you went 3 and out, win the game. You know, it was like 12-point lead with a minute to go or whatever. So yeah. Georgia Tech's defense, when it counted whatsoever, got one stop the entire game. Is that good?
Nope.
I did that during the rapid recap, and now I can't find the Giddy or the Dabo sound effect again. Anyways, it's somewhere in there. Is that good? I don't know if that's good.
It's not.
Yeah, it's not. Last thing, Haynes King, really good performance in a losing effort. I thought he was really, really good here.
Yeah.
Over 500 yards, 4 touchdowns. He did have the one interception. I want to make very clear that was on the very last play of the game that he threw an interception. I wasn't even watching at this point. I'd flipped over to Game 7 of the World Series. Like,
insane. Crazy.
I checked out here with about 4 minutes ago. I think when NC State went up 48-30, I said, you know, good night, we're done. Haynes King threw an interception the very last play of the game. That was Haynes King's first interception since I think the second drive of the game at Colorado in week 1. So I would hope that doesn't get held against him, that now he has like 2 turnovers on the year or, you know, whatever it was. But, but in any case, otherwise he was phenomenal here, and Haynes King deserves better from his defense. And the comments that he and Brent Key and so forth made after the game, sounded a little bit different than the comments that Miami and Mario Cristobal and Carson Beck and so made after their game. Just for what that's
Culture.
worth.
404 the culture.
You could say that.
Yeah,
you could say that. Yeah. Anything else here, Mike?
No, gonna get George, not you, because you'll laugh. Gonna get Georgia Tech fans real mad online. Fun start, 8-0, right? It was a good start to the year.
It's fun while it lasted.
Nice, fun. End up being a nice, fun 9-3 regular season.
Maybe. Yeah.
Maybe.
Hey. 11-1 gets you to the playoff.
Yeah,
with the win over Georgia, I think that gets you an at-large.
I think that's the only way this league is 2 bids now.
Is that with somehow with tiebreakers and stuff, Georgia Tech not making it to Charlotte?
That's what I mean. This would be a scenario where they're not in Charlotte. 11-1, not in Charlotte. Beat Georgia, beat a top 5 Georgia.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're in.
So if you want the playoff, the margin is gone. You basically need to win out, and if you make it to Charlotte and then lose, and they're like 11-2, that might become a pretty squirrely scenario of do we punish losing conference championship games or not? But you need to win out in the regular season to get to the playoff if that's your goal.
Yeah, the 11-1 Georgia Tech scenario, going to Charlotte or not, I think that starts to throw a wrench in the 3-loss SEC team or a Notre Dame, or I think that's who you're stealing a bid from.
Yeah. Yep. For sure.
Justifiably so, by the way. Justifiably so.
Yeah, I would agree. Before we move on, just a reminder, section103.com for all things wonderful Georgia Tech apparel. Use promo code GOACC at checkout for 10% off your first order. You want cool hats like this one? You want hoodies like this one? It's a cooling off here. This is super comfortable, super warm, looks fantastic. All the official word marks, the official colors, the official Tech gold, everything. Thanks for men, women, children, babies, something for the whole family. Go get it all at section103.com. Once again, use promo code GOACC at checkout for 10% off your first order. Shout out to Steven and the gang for their support. They've also got things for LSU. If you're looking to check in after they change coaches. Kennesaw State, Georgia Southern, they got all sorts of stuff, all sorts of good stuff, and good people doing it. So once again, go support section103.com. Use promo code GOACC at checkout for 10% off your first order.
Shout out, Steven.
Hell yeah. Where to, Mike?
Clemson, Duke.
Duke 46, Clemson 45. Wow.
I want to have the Dabo Swinney conversation, but we got to get quickly into this game first. All right. Absolute shootout.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
28 all at halftime.
28 up at half. Insane game. One total turnover, and it was by Clemson. It was an Adam Randall fumble. That was it.
Mm-hmm.
We had Clemson leading this game by a touchdown late. It's 45-38 with less than a minute to go. It is 4th down in the game. If you didn't see the highlight here, it's 4th and 10, and I think Duke is inside the Clemson 20. But you essentially need to get inside the 10 to essentially keep the game alive. Mensah throws a pass in the area of Quayshawn Brown, and Avion Terrell gets called for quite possibly one of the worst pass interference calls I've seen. Dabo addressed it after. By the way, it obviously gives Duke a first down deep into Clemson territory. They punch it in on
inside
the very next
5,
play. Yeah, inside the 5. They punch it in on the very next play, and then they go for 2 and get it and win the game. Dabo was, I thought his post-game press conference comments were totally fine, totally justifiable. I mean, he was asked specifically about the play. this isn't why we lost, not why we lost, shouldn't come down to this. It says all the stuff you have to say to qualify, but then also said it was one of the worst calls he's ever seen in his years and years of coaching. Clemson was fined $10,000 and Dabo earned a public reprimand from ACC, which I think is really rich because I think the officials should have earned a public reprimand for how that was called at the end. Yeah. But that's fine. Dabo doesn't care. It's fine.
Tim Hayes in the comments, Terrell was holding him the entire route if you watch full play. The only thing I would say to that, maybe he was, then that's holding. Call holding, don't call pass interference. And that's like semantics at that point. But like, if you call interference, it tells me that you felt like he did something wrong when the ball was in the air.
Also, a lot of stuff off the line of scrimmage, like you're inside 5 yards, like they let a lot of that stuff go for most of the game, so like, I thought it was a bad call. Like I thought the pass was pretty much uncatchable. I mean, it was a heave and hope from Mensa, heavy pass rush. It was a total bailout call when you just look at the circumstances of the play. I mean,
Terrell was like fully turned around, like had to spin around trying to find where the ball was even. Like,
Mensa's throwing off his back foot there too, like just trying to get enough on it to get to the goal line because he's getting a pretty decent pass rush in his face. And anyway, I thought that was a bad call, but like Dabo said, not the reason the Clemson lost the game. Reason why Clemson lost the game is they allowed Darian Mensa to absolutely cook here, which we talked about on the preview. If Duke wanted to win this game, it was going to have to be on the shoulders of Mensa, who, statistically didn't end up throwing for as many yards as Cade Klubnik. I thought Klubnik was good in this game too, but I thought Mensa was a better quarterback. Kind of bared out that way. Bigger question is like the big picture thing. It's the big picture thing. First of all, heck of a win for Duke. They're 5-3. They are one of several teams. We mentioned the 5-way tie for second in the ACC. Duke is now 4-1 in league play, so they still have a chance to get to Charlotte. So let's continue monitoring the Blue Devils. Clemson was a preseason top 5 team. This is where the conversation is. Preseason top 5 team. They are now 3-5 and 2-4 in the ACC. I hope you can hear me because my video froze. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
Perfect. All right, perfect. All right, I'm just gonna keep going. 3-5, 2-4 in the ACC now. 4 league losses. Not something we would have seen coming at the beginning of the year. Offensive coordinator we thought was the problem. Now they're scoring points again, and now Tom Allen, who put together an unbelievable year as a defensive coordinator at Penn State last year, should be probably coming under fire for how bad this has looked defensively, because it's been kind of a season-long thing where Clemson's defense isn't nearly as dominant as everybody thought it would be.
They haven't been that impressive.
So, I mean, where do we go with this from a Clemson standpoint?
I absolutely wonder about that. And like, they're not going to fire him. You can't fire Dabo Swinney, who's won 2 national titles? I forget how many at this point, but like, he's in the discussion for best coach in your program's history. He's a long-term guy. He's been, what is this, year 16, 17, whatever it is of him. Like, you're not firing him, but it's confusing because you think at least partially about like, what was this Clemson program before he took over? And now that was like 2 eras of college football ago. So like, how much does it even translate is a little, up in the air, up for discussion, I would say. But this is about the worst that they have looked, or the least impressive that they've looked since 2012 or so. Whenever he, I guess when they gave up the famous moment in Clemson history was giving up 70 to West Virginia in the Orange Bowl. Since then, they hired Brent Venables. Since then, they have not looked this like average. And I think that's probably the word here, is they look average. Like, they whooped a bad North Carolina team. They whooped a semi-quitting bad Boston College team. And other than that, I thought they held their own against a decent looking LSU team that's now fired their coach. They lost against a good looking Georgia Tech team that we've had questions about all year ever since. And they lost to a Syracuse team that at that time looked good, but maybe we had a couple of questions about. Now they lost by 11 to a decent but incomplete SMU team, and now they're losing at home to do like they're doing things that Clemson has not done in over a decade under Dabo. And so it makes you wonder, what are we doing here? And I don't know what the answer is. Mike's telling me that he's actually having to restart his computer, so he'll be back with us here in a few minutes, having technical issues, but we'll keep rolling here. I don't know what the answer is, and it's really odd because, again, as we talked about for Clemson coming into the year, you've got a third-year starting quarterback in Cade Klubnik. You've got the offensive coordinator in Garrett Riley. You've got all this talent on the defensive line. You've got Tom Allen coming in, and he's like this savior, perfect fit of a defensive coordinator, and all this stuff. You've got all these receivers that are now like, they were freshmen last year, but they're super talented, and now they're sophomores. And we just can't quite put it together. And I don't know what to make of it. It's wild. It's really wild. And I don't know what to tell you. Don't know what to tell you. I do want to go back real quick. Where was it? Tim Hayes had a question about. I want to go back to the Duke of it all. Is there a legitimate conversation for Darian Mensah to be Player of the Year in the ACC? I think yes, there is a conversation to be had about it. I think if you were to look at this as like a Heisman kind of thing, where you invite 4 or 5 guys to New York, like if they had an ACC Player of the Year ceremony, like would Darian Mensah be invited? Yeah, I think so. Like he's been really, really good for Duke and has elevated that program and won them a couple of games that they probably couldn't have or wouldn't have won otherwise this year. So I think he's got to be in that conversation. But a couple others have mentioned. I think I'm going to try not to toot the Georgia Tech horn too hard, but like Haynes King has been genuinely has been incredible this year, and I think deserves a spot in New York as far as what we've seen so far. That's a discussion for a different day. Mike, all I've said is basically this Clemson program and what it's been sold as and what it has been the last decade or so, like there's really something missing. And I don't know what the answer is here. I don't think that you fire Dabo Swinney. The coordinators don't seem like they're the ones really making the big difference. I don't know what you do, but it feels a little bit like Clemson is regressing back to what they were when Dabo took over in the late 2000s, which was a somewhat above average ACC football program, but really like not a whole lot more special than that.
Yeah. I don't think it was. It makes you wonder though. They were just getting recruit after recruit at quarterback, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And the last 2 they've had are just simply not Deshaun Watson and Trevor Lawrence. So, but it's other stuff too.
Yeah.
It's the defensive line. Like you had multiple defensive linemen like get drafted. You had multiple guys in the secondary get drafted. You had linebackers get drafted. You had receiver after receiver after receiver. And I think this receiving room's been better this year. But you've had receiver after receiver after receiver get drafted. It's not like they're getting drafted in droves like they would in like other SEC schools, right? The SEC contenders. And Clemson is now just another team in the ACC, which is crazy under Dabo. And it doesn't seem to be the coordinators. Like Allen was a sought after coordinator. Garrett Riley, sought after coordinator. Seemed like it was a coup to get him from TCU. There's something just off.
Yeah.
And I think it probably ties back to Dabo being a little slow to come around on everything that the new age of college football has brought to the table? And is he going to be one of those like old soul people who's just like super, super slow to adapt? Because the teams that are embracing it are doing quite well.
I don't even know that he's like slow to, he just outright is like refusing to do it.
Yeah.
Like everyone else, like Stanford and Northwest, like take your pick of people that have every reason not to do it. Everyone's doing it, and he's not, because it's like he's like standing on principle, you know, like he's I don't know, trying to show that he's too good for it or something. But it's clear that like you don't have the advantage that you used to have with high school recruiting if you can't supplement with the transfer portal. And maybe that's a big piece of it.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know what they do. I mean, if it ends up being that he's going to continue not to embrace it and they're going to be a 4-loss program or 5-loss program every year, I think then it's time to have a legitimate conversation about whether or not Dabo should be the head coach there anymore.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. He's won 2 national titles there. I mean, it's crazy to even think that, but that's where we're at now.
Yeah. Yep. Sure is. Mike, it's very reasonable that Duke could finish 9-3 this year, for the record.
Yeah, super reasonably.
At UConn, home against Virginia, at North Carolina, home against Wake Forest.
Yeah.
That Virginia game is going to be a big deal for the conference, honestly, because that's probably Virginia's toughest remaining matchup. And if you're looking for the Hoos to trip up somewhere, that's most likely where it would be.
Mm-hmm.
And Duke getting that game in Durham and the way that Duke has been playing, like, you put a game together there, you can beat Virginia, I think. So we'll see if Duke can play spoiler. And by the way, they only have 1 loss in the conference. Their problem is that their 1 loss was to Georgia Tech. So that's the head-to-head that will be a problem when it comes to, that's like the first tiebreaker. So, but anyways.
I think we're good to move on because we're an hour and 6 minutes in. We've done 3 games.
We should probably move on. Yeah, we can probably go a little quicker here. All right, where to? Duke 46, Clemson 45.
Let's hit Carolina, Syracuse. This is the last one that has like any sort of, I think, broader sweeping ramifications, and it doesn't even, not even in terms of like the ACC title, just in terms of narrative. So,
yep. UNC 27, Syracuse 10.
Yeah. So Belichick has the kids playing some defense for the better part of about a month. They're playing some defense in Chapel Hill, Joey. Now, I get it, right? Opponent adjusted. Maybe you take it with a grain of salt, but they also just did this to Virginia. That's been one of the better offenses in the ACC this year a week ago and could have very easily won that game. They could have very easily won the Cal game. They fumbled again, and it led to a touchdown in this game, a scoop and score for Syracuse for their only touchdown of the game here. So, I mean, Carolina's got like a persistent fumbling problem with some of their they just don't have, there aren't a ton of really good players on this roster, but they've figured something out defensively, which I think, given Carolina's schedule the rest of the way, could lead to a non-zero chance. A non-zero chance, Joey, that they could scratch and claw their way to a bowl game after all.
Oh, good Lord. No. Oh, goodness. Oh man. You kind of squint your eyes and tilt your head sideways, and you could definitely see 3-1 here. My goodness.
They have 4 games remaining: Stanford, Wake, Duke, and NC State. And I think the most likely outcome is they win like 1 or 2 of these games.
Yeah.
But they only need 3, and they might be able to get 1 somewhere. That's all I will say.
I would bet you that they will win at least 1 more game the rest of the year. That defense is good enough. The offense is not completely atrocious. Like,
it's not good, but it's not completely atrocious.
No.
Yeah.
But like, could they score 24 points at home and beat Stanford next week? Yep. Like they sure could. So it's interesting to watch, right? Because like this is kind of the thing that we said that going into the year, like maybe they figure out is no, you can't just run whatever the Belichick special defense from New England for 15 years was with college kids who have other stuff going on and are just like randomly plucked out of the transfer portal. But they have figured out some stuff that maybe will work, and it's a little simpler, but the guys can execute it. Mm-hmm. And here you go, is, you know, in fairness, as a couple of the people in the comments are mentioning, again, Syracuse's quarterback in this game was Joseph Filardi. Mm-hmm. Filardi? I don't know. I think supposedly he's a cross player. He was a walk-on. I don't know what Syracuse is doing here, by the way, because like,
looking for a spark, I guess.
What was this guy doing in practice? 4 for 18 for 39 yards in this game. What was happening in practice that you're like, that guy gives us a chance to win?
Or Ricky Collins, is he the problem? Right? Because like he hasn't been great. But
are we punishing Ricky Collins for something? Like, this was bizarre to me, Mike, because like this was, I mean, it didn't look good with Collins running the offense. This was wildly inept in a way that like I don't understand what the idea here was, what the plan was. I mean, this is crazy to me. Syracuse might win one more game. Probably the saddest game of the entire ACC season is going to be that final week of the year with Boston College in the Carrier Dome. Someone has to win, right? Like,
wholly bad off.
Yeah. So this is a mess, but Carolina gets a win. Good for them. Good for the Tar Heels. We'll see. We'll see if Bill Belichick sticks around long enough to get 3 or 4 more ACC wins. But for now, they get this one.
See if Fran Brown sticks long enough to see the end of the season through. I don't mean he's getting fired, ladies and gentlemen.
Right. Yeah. Would agree. Carolina 27, Syracuse 10.
All right.
Where else?
Well, it'd be great if my browser was working. Here we go. Technology has not been my friend this evening on this side of the house. All right, we've kept the people waiting long enough. Let's hit this. Virginia 31, Cal 21.
Mm-hmm.
So you mentioned this, but Virginia just it took them a little while to get separation. By a little while, I mean like 59 minutes-ish to cover the spread. So that was insane.
They never trailed.
Did not trail. Led the whole way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Chandler Morris, I thought, looked the healthiest maybe he's looked in a while. So that's a positive sign for Virginia moving forward. They ran the ball. They committed to the run. We'll put that nicely. They committed to the run. Took a page out of Virginia textbook against Cal a week ago. Committed to that. And I thought Virginia's defense overall played pretty well here. Now, the finishing drives thing was not very consistent. I think Virginia would have gained a little bit more separation earlier in the game if they did a bit better job of that. So that is something to note. They also missed a field goal in this game. It may sound like I'm nitpicking, but against Cal, you're just monitoring the score a little bit in the second half and wondering, hey, why aren't they pulling away? So I don't want to classify this as Virginia keeps getting away with it, because I think Virginia was the better team on Saturday. And I think there's characterizations being made about Virginia coming out of this particular game that I don't think are very fair, just considering how the game went, never trailed, led throughout. But I do think the not being able to pull away lends some credence to I don't know, points that you and I have made where Virginia's 8-1, they're 5-0 in the ACC. But this is more of a product of them being a little bit more competent than who they're playing. Same conversation we've been having about Georgia Tech. Eventually, I feel like that will catch up to you.
Mm-hmm.
They got a game against Duke that we just talked about that could be one where it would catch up to you.
Yep.
Which could be pretty important considering how the ACC seems to be shaping up this year. Because I'll tell you what, 11-1 Georgia Tech, non-conference champion with a win over Georgia, is getting in the playoff over 11-1 Virginia with no quality wins.
Yeah.
So they got to make it to Charlotte. Like, they have to make it to Charlotte. 11-1 Virginia should not get in my opinion. That's not me being a hater because I'm a Hokie. That's just the reality of it with their schedule. I don't think 11-1 Virginia, if you pit it up against another 11-1 non-conference champion, should get into the playoff.
Louisville is your highest quality win. By far, I think.
By a lot. Yeah, by a lot. But if you're putting that 11-1 team with a win over, and it's hypothetical, but 11-1 with a win over Louisville versus 11-1 Georgia Tech with a win over Georgia, a top 5 Georgia, which, by the way, Virginia and Georgia Tech in that 11-1 scenario, they share the common loss.
Yeah, true. Very true.
So,
and by the way, NC State winning that game on Saturday throws a little bit of a wrench in this, but well, no, it doesn't actually, because you know what? Teams that Virginia has beaten, I'll give you Louisville and everyone else. Which of these teams is 100% definitely going to make a bowl game? Coastal Carolina, William and Mary, Stanford, Florida State, Washington State, North Carolina, and Cal. Washington State's probably going to a bowl game, right?
Did Washington State hold on against Oregon State last night?
They did not. They lost in Corvallis. I checked because that was my lock. My sicko's pick of the week did not come in because now Wazoo is 4-5 with 3 games to play.
Yeah. I just realized I just realized my rant, Virginia would actually be 10-2 because they've lost to NC State and it would be one other loss. So 11-1 Virginia would get into Charlotte. But 11-1 conference runner-up Virginia with no quality wins. Are they absolutely making the playoff? You just rattled off the wins, like, right?
You know what though?
They're probably out.
I will look at you, Virginia fans, and I will tell you, winning all these games is a lot more than losing one of them. I'll tell you that right now. Trust me.
For sure.
Trust me.
For sure. And you're not supposed to hold the conference title losses against these teams. That's what the committee says. I always believe the committee filled with SEC and Big Ten homers. That's for sure.
Oh my God. I did not even realize this. Wazoo has a game left at James Madison.
No way. James Madison's going to be
the
favored
best team
in that
in
game.
Virginia.
They're going to be for sure. James Madison's going to be. Virginia fans going to get real mad at that one. James Madison's going to be favored in that game by 14 points, probably more, maybe more.
Damn. All right. Well,
great season. Yeah, I agree. And Dennis 133. Great season for Virginia, regardless. 1,000%. We were talking about firing Tony Elliott last year. Remember?
Yeah.
And now you're getting anonymous gifts left and right and retaining roster pieces and bringing in Chandler Morris and looking competent. Dude, hell yeah.
This is a hell of a magic carpet ride. Just enjoy it. This is fun.
Just enjoy it.
I have retweeted a couple things, by the way, and I think it's Reddit CFB, it's Ari Wasserman. It's a few people have made the point that when you look at, and Virginia's at the very top end of the ACC standings, when you look at 5 or 6 teams that all have one loss, and everyone's like, oh, look, the ACC sucks. What a garbage, joke of a league. And it's like, then you look at the standings at the top of the SEC, and it looks the exact same.
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, wow, what a deep league. What an impressive conference. Like, maybe we should be having the same conversation about the ACC. Maybe we should. I don't know. Who's to say?
There are several teams in the ACC that would beat like the 5th, 6th, 7th best team in the SEC. Like, I don't know. Anyway, Cal has Louisville, Stanford, and SMU left, just on the Cal side of the coin. They are 5-4.
What odds would you give me on Cal not making a bowl game?
That's why took the words right out of my mouth.
Can I get 3-1?
It's 3-1 on the Stanford game, because they're traveling to Louisville and then they host SMU at the end of the year, and Cal's not winning the SMU game. So
right,
I don't think unless SMU does the Wake Forest thing again, then maybe you can win that game.
Yeah.
But Cal's going to Stanford in one of the more underrated rivalries in the sport, and that's the bowl game's going to be riding on it. So that'll be fun.
I don't think the band's going to be on the field for that one. He says, not really knowing which band was on which field for that game in 1980, but felt like I had to throw that reference in there.
They probably cut the band during COVID.
Yeah, right. Virginia 31, Cal 21.
That's a cutting extracurricular sport for those of you trying to joke. Cutting extracurricular joke.
Should we hit the Hokies real quick here?
Yeah.
Number 16, Louisville 28, Virginia Tech 16. Louisville got down early in this game. The Hokies had a couple of short field touchdown drives. There was a safety coming off a blocked punt. Mm-hmm. This is a bit of a sloppy performance for Louisville, but after halftime, they did enough and got a little bit of margin. Defense took over, and the Hokies had no real answers in the second half. So, it's fine on balance. Louisville has, they covered here, but was not the prettiest start to the game for the Cards, and the Hokies just didn't have enough to really make them work for it.
I made a proclamation on my Tech Pod earlier that I think Virginia Tech is like middle of the ACC now in terms of like any week they could they're going to kind of play hard and put you in hell. Mm-hmm. And like Louisville's one of the better teams in the ACC, and Virginia Tech had them. Just I wasn't real confident even at halftime Virginia Tech was going to win this game outright just because of the way the game was going, and Tech couldn't really throw. And it's like, Louisville makes a couple adjustments. They're probably going to pull away. That's exactly what happened. But I think Virginia Tech's playing competent enough football under Philip Montgomery now that they're going to be a tough out the rest of the way. So, hear that, Virginia?
Yeah. I mean, and that's plenty to do as an interim coach. Where, I mean, you took over, you lost the first 3 games of the season. You had a pretty gnarly conference schedule afterwards. Like, just play hard, and some weeks the game script is going to make it so that you're at a place in the fourth quarter where you can actually have a shot to win the game. And they're gonna, like, they've done that a couple times now. So some weeks it'll work, some weeks it won't. But they absolutely have the chance to play spoiler here. They've got a road game in Tallahassee here in a couple weeks, but then Miami at home late in November. Like, you want to make damn sure that Miami doesn't get to the ACC championship game. Like, see what happens there. And then going into Charlottesville the last week of the year, like, you could throw a wrench into a lot of things if you go in and play spoiler there as well, which, shocking to think that Virginia Tech could beat Virginia at any given point. But
they don't do that very often.
Who knows?
Yeah. The one thing that did annoy me, and I think there's and Dennis 133 mentioned, could Montgomery get another G5 job? Absolutely he could. Like, I don't know if, he's going to get like a head coach job next year, but like, could he find himself in college again next year? Yeah. I mean, that was a question after being fired by Hugh Freeze as Auburn's offensive coordinator. He went and was coaching like the UFL and then basically just took this job from Brent Pry to like get himself back into college. And I think he's done enough so far as the interim, holding things together, and they've looked competitive. I think he can absolutely get himself some sort of coaching job next year. Maybe not as a head coach, but as an OC probably. The thing that now, all that said, love Montgomery, love what, thank you for making this team watchable. Why were they punting to Colin Lacey? Like, they just kept doing it. It was really frustrating. They punted to him 3 times. He also had a really good kick return. And that's before you even talked about his performance on offense. He had 5 catches. He had a touchdown. Really annoying that Tech kept punting to him. Like, he's an All-American punt returner. What are we doing?
Yeah. There are multiple different approaches you can take to avoid the guy from returning the ball, and they took none of them. Or they certainly didn't take him enough that, like,
yeah.
Why does he have several long returns like that? After the first one, it should be like, okay, we're done. Like, kick it out of bounds, kick the ground ball bouncer that you can surround him. Like, I don't know. That was wild to me too.
Yeah, I mean, he had the one return for. I want to make sure I get this right. Yeah, he had a 63-yard return in the third quarter that set up the Louisville touchdown to take the lead. Like, you could have just like not punted to him and then had the defense just continue to like frustrate Miller Moss because that seemed to be working. Now, Virginia Tech couldn't stop the run. Isaac Brown got hurt for Louisville, so that's a significant injury. Yeah, and he's been banged up anyway before this.
He wasn't healthy coming in.
Yeah.
So, and we haven't seen Duke Watson in like a month and a half now. Like, you had a hell of a 1-2 punch coming into the year for Louisville at the running back room that might be without both of them.
Yeah.
Now, next week you got Cal coming in. How badly do you need to be healthy at the running back spot? I don't know.
Right.
But Louisville in a very interesting spot. Like, if they've got 4 games left, if they win their next 3, Cal, Clemson, and then at SMU, the SMU game is an elimination spot, I think. And we're going to start talking about this in the next couple weeks on the show. Is for all the 1-loss teams we have at the top of the standings, like, there are a couple of these games coming up that will eliminate somebody, that will give somebody a second loss. Louisville at SMU, and I think, is that the weekend before Thanksgiving? It is. If you find a way to, you can find a way to win that game, like, and win against Cal and Clemson, 1 loss. I think the way that the tiebreakers are set up, a 1-loss Louisville team in the ACC has the inside track to Charlotte. I think they would beat out Georgia Tech and Pitt and whoever else is a 1-loss team. But again, it's going to get pretty convoluted here for a week or 2 before teams start losing. So we'll see. I have significant concerns about Miller Moss. Like, Miller Moss feels like a guy who is waiting to lose Louisville another game. And
Shag, just a guy.
Like, man, he was unimpressive in this game. And it's like some days he just wakes up on the right side of the bed and he looks great. And there's other days he wakes up on the wrong side of the bed and it's like, is this the best we can do? Like, what are you doing? What was that throw? What is happening? So I don't know. We've talked about it. It's bizarre to me that, like, Louisville in 3 years under Jeff Brom, 2 of the years, it's like the entire roster looks great except for the quarterback position. And you're like just trying to survive there with Miller Moss after Jag Plummer there a couple of years ago.
Jag Plummer.
But right. Feels like that's where we're at right now yet again somehow.
Yeah. Best part about the Miller Moss discourse probably is mom. But where we're at.
At least we got that, Mike. At least we
got that. Yeah.
All right.
That's enough of that.
What odds can I get on Louisville to win the conference right now? Because that feels like it might. We're gonna do this right back to back. A, they're going to lose a game because of their quarterback, and B, what odds can I get to win the conference?
Yeah, let's do it back to back.
Yeah. But again, the rest of that team is good enough, and with the way that things are kind of breaking, like if they get to Charlotte, I kind of feel like they're going to be favored against whoever else is there, whoever that ends up being.
Yeah.
So it's, I don't know, worth considering. I'm good here.
I am too. This is like this Louisville team. It's like dollar store Tennessee from last year. It was like, let's get Nico in a bad matchup, and then let's see how bad they lose in the playoff. That's what this kind of feels like.
Great defense, good skill guys, can run the ball, like all that. And let's see if Nico loses it for us or not.
Right. And I think the SMU comparison, in SMU comparison to last year, I don't think is very fair because Jennings is a lot better than Miller Moss, I think, especially when he's fully healthy.
Yes. I was really impressed watching Kevin Jennings throw the ball this weekend. Like,
I thought you were going to make a joke about the playoff last year. I was really impressed with how he threw the ball against Penn State. It was like, yeah, good point. Point well taken. He played one of the worst games I've ever seen.
Hey, Miller Moss could absolutely play that game in the playoff if they get there.
Yeah, that's my entire point. Yeah, exactly. Exactly right.
Louisville 28, Virginia Tech 16. Rapid fire here?
Yeah. Notre Dame 25, Boston College 10.
Good on you, Boston College. We tried. They do not get the Brian Van Gorder Memorial or the Bobby Petrino Memorial You Didn't Try award this week. They tried. It wasn't quite good enough.
Yeah. Sloppy from Notre Dame, but they were due for a sloppy one.
I was going to say, as I mentioned off the top, I didn't really get to watch a ton of this particular game. I was scoreboard watching and was like, why is it 12-10 with, 4 minutes left in the third quarter? But as mentioned, I mean, Notre Dame missed some opportunities, which really explains my bigger question of how do you rack up 458 yards of offense and only score 25 points? And that's kind of how.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a lot to talk about here. Boston College is bad, and I mean, got 3 games left. We'll see if you can beat. I don't think they're going to beat SMU. I don't think they're going to beat Georgia Tech. We'll see if they can beat Syracuse in the Carrier Dome.
And Syracuse game's going to be a barn burner. That'll make our sickos slate that week, I think.
This looks a hell of a lot like 11-1 or 1-11 or 2-10 for Boston College, which yikes.
Have a feeling we're going to be asking for the sicko sound in the middle of that one. Notre Dame, by the way, they have like no kickers. Their starting kicker has been hurt pretty much all year, and their other 2 kickers can't put it through the uprights. And Marcus Freeman was real pissed about it in the post game.
Yeah,
I actually saw the clip before we recorded tonight, and I was like, they asked him what the situation was with his kickers, and he goes, "Well, you see, like they can't. The guys we keep running out there, like they aren't kicking it through the uprights." Is basically what he said. And then he went on a rant about, then he gave like the serious answer and went on a rant about how like they just got to simply figure it out because the team's too good otherwise, is basically what Freeman was saying, which he's probably right about. So
it's a little bit extra funny to me because I've had the 6-year-old watching games with me a lot this fall. And I'm just imagining like anytime anyone, and it's not just Georgia Tech games, it's anyone that we're watching. It's like anytime anyone lines up for a field goal, like he's intently watching, like, like all into it. And then it's like, oh, it's good. And I'm just imagining him giving that answer for Marcus Freeman in the press conference. Like, well, if it doesn't go between the pipes, I mean, it doesn't count. So
it was giving this, the meme about the Baylor. It was that Baylor basketball player in the tournament where he was real mad and they were asking him what the rebound. He was like, well, you see, they went up and they grabbed the ball and they pulled it down, and they did that more times than we did. So that's what happened.
Yeah, it's how it goes.
Gave those vibes.
Notre Dame 25, Boston College 10.
Pitt Stanford.
Pitt 35, Stanford 20. A game that was, I don't know, on the scoreboard felt a little closer than maybe it should have been, but like I never felt like this was really in doubt for Pitt. Pitt takes care of business across the country. Impressive. This was a really good opportunity for them to really screw around, and they didn't.
No Scott tonight, so we don't get the Benny G sound. But
Yeah.
Ben Branson, 17 of 30, 228, touchdown, 3 picks. He was replaced by Elijah Brown, 10 of 14 for 108. And a touchdown for Stanford. I mean, not too much to add. Shakarian Turner for Pitt ran the ball well. Heinzel, not Heinzel's best game, but he played fine.
No Desmond Reed in this game, by the way, is noteworthy. We'll see what that's doing health-wise. They've got Notre Dame coming in here in a couple of weeks. So they got a bye week. They get a chance to get a little bit healthy, and then they've got their final stretch. Notre Dame at Georgia Tech and Miami. Would be really good to have Desmond Reed for that stretch, but
yeah,
we shall see. Just shamelessly non-sack adjusted here, but total rushing yards for Stanford in this game, -10.
Kobe.
Cedric Irvin leads Stanford with 24 yards on the ground. Ben Branson had -29 on the ground in what I would assume is 3 sacks. So Pitt keeps doing it to him. Like Pitt's figured something out.
Pitt's defense, 5 sacks, 8 tackles for loss here.
We'll do it. Pitt 35, Stanford 20. Finally, Florida State 42, Wake Forest 7. I'll be honest, I was really kind of impressed. I mean, not that impressed with Florida State, like all things relative, but like the fact that they came out, showed effort, and actually looked like they gave a damn.
Yeah.
Like, wasn't expecting that. So shout out to them and credit to the Noles, and we'll see if they can keep that up. They need 2 more wins in their final 4 to get to a bowl game. They're at Clemson. They got Virginia Tech at home. They got NC State in Raleigh, and then they got Florida in Gainesville. Sure, you could win 2 of those. Like,
or
I don't know if there's any of them you couldn't win, but you could also mail it in and finish 4-8. Like, that's entirely possible too.
Yeah, Mike Norvell is hoping they'll do that.
Wait, can we stop yelling about feeling like the conference is trying to hold you down now after that missed offsides call against Georgia Tech? Look, it's been fun. Okay. Like, and the Deeks are better than we thought they were going to be coming into the year.
Should make bowl game.
But let's grow up here. Let's grow up. They weren't going to Charlotte. Okay. Like, it's fine. It's fine. Let it go.
They lost by 35 to quitting Florida State. I don't know what to tell you.
They got beaten to a pulp by a quitting Florida State team. Yeah.
Yeah. I mentioned this in the rapid recap. Deuce Robinson absolutely cooked here for Florida State. Really nice game.
Yeah.
Really nice game. I told you on the preview, y'all, everybody's saying, oh, give me Wake plus the points, Wake plus the points. I'm like, guys, like if Florida State shows up even slightly motivated, they're going to win this game by a lot. Now, even I was surprised, even saying that, because I told you guys I didn't feel great about it. But that was my reasoning, right? They show up even slightly motivated, they should cover. Even I was surprised by this. 42-0 before Wake scores. I mean, that I did not see coming for what Florida, with how Florida State have been playing. So,
yeah, I agree. Wake is absolutely going to beat either North Carolina or Delaware. I would not be shocked if they won in Charlottesville next weekend.
No.
Also wouldn't be shocked if they won in Durham the final weekend of the year. Like, Wake's going to a bowl game is what I'm trying to say. So, and that's better than I think we thought that the Deeks were going to be this year. And they'll probably be a 7-ish win team when it's all said and done. So that's a hell of a start for Jake Dickert and that staff at Wake Forest.
Joey, this is probably a good time to bring up who Florida State has this week coming up.
It's okay. I'm sure the ratings will be great.
One of the biggest games in the ACC we were talking about in the preseason. We were saying that was going to be a huge game. It's going to have Penn State, Ohio State vibes. Except
That's
neither
right.
one of these teams are very good.
Clemson at Florida. I got that right. That's in Tallahassee. No, it's in Death Valley. It's in yeah.
Oh, the
Florida
Spirit
State
Halloween.
on the road.
Did you see that?
At Clemson. Yeah. Duke's Twitter account. Well done. Yeah, this is objectively hilarious, by the way, because and for the people that don't know, and I honestly didn't really know this until somebody mentioned it, I think either yesterday or today on Twitter, is so Clemson and Florida State, those of the schools who sued the conference because they bring in all the TV ratings and they bring in all the money and they're the really important ones and they're the really good ones. They are playing a game this year and next week on the ACC network, which does not take Nielsen does not receive Nielsen ratings. It's just like perfect. Just
good.
This league.
And they couldn't be more irrelevant either, both of them, relative to what they were in the preseason.
Exactly.
What they were, I mean, heading into the night game of week 1, Florida State came off that huge upset of Alabama at home. Oh, Florida State's back. Oh, Clemson, tough loss to LSU. It's okay. No problem. You just lost to a team that fired their head coach last week. 3-5 Clemson. 3-5 Clemson. Definitely
going to a bowl game for sure.
I was going to say, definitely. We didn't have that conversation earlier. Definitely going to a bowl game with Florida State, Louisville, Furman, and South Carolina remaining on the schedule, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Surely they'll win at least 3 of those.
Yeah.
Right.
They'll definitely win that finale on the road in Columbia against a team that just fired their offensive coordinator today. They'll definitely win that game for sure. Not worried about it at all if I'm a Clemson fan. Man, you want to get the fan base going, Joey? Lose that one.
Joe, I actually think Joe makes a great point here that this game has major impacts on the ACC championship game races, as this has potential to impact the tiebreakers for all the teams that might actually have a chance to go to Charlotte. Whose opponents have the higher winning percentage in conference? I hope Clemson wins.
Really pulling for Florida State.
Yeah. Go ACC to that. Anything else here, Mike? Before we,
I think 3-6 Clemson would be a little funnier than 4-5 Florida State. Although 4-5 Florida State, because they were like spearheading the lawsuits. 4-5 Florida State would be pretty funny after beating Alabama in the opener. Oh, you beat Alabama and still could barely make a bowl game? Or, you beat Alabama and still didn't make a bowl game?
Alabama's going to be 12-1 SEC champions with a loss to Florida State?
What?
5-7?
Yeah. What loss is worse? What loss is worse? Yeah. Alabama's lost to Florida State or Notre Dame's lost to Northern Illinois?
Yeah. I love this sport.
It's it's the greatest.
You want to give some awards?
Yeah, I mean, I can't wait to hand out the Brian Van Gorder Memorial You Tried Award to Florida State for beating Alabama in the opener and then not making a bowl game. You really tried to make a bowl game.
Yeah. Should we start there? The Brian Van Gorder Memorial You Tried Award? Georgia Tech's defense tried to stop NC State's offense, and
probably
we'll try again next week.
I think that's probably the pick.
Feels right.
The other honorable mention: Syracuse trying to complete a forward pass / Syracuse trying to play offense.
Yeah. The forward pass completion challenge. The Go ACC moment of the week. My favorite nominee here, personally, Mike, and I don't know if you saw this, and I don't know if this was pregame or like during the game, that at SMU they had like trivia on the board.
Yes,
on the video board. Who is SMU's football stadium named after? And it was A, like William Howard Taft, B, Abraham Lincoln, C, John F. Kennedy, and D, Gerald R. Ford or whatever.
With the big ass Gerald R. Ford Stadium, like signage right over the scoreboard, right above it. Beautiful.
Go ACC to that. Anything else on that one?
Nope.
Look, we had another one somewhere. Yeah, we'll see.
We watched games on Sling TV this weekend, Joey. I mean, people got to give us a little slack here.
For real, we're doing our best here. The Bobby Petrino Memorial You Didn't Try Award this week. Syracuse running a lacrosse player out there as their quarterback.
I mean, that's the only way you could squint and find it, because otherwise,
yeah. I didn't see any clear effort issues here.
No.
Weight got completely squashed, but I don't think that was an effort problem.
Nah, wasn't a quit thing.
Yeah. The Kobe Bryant Memorial Volume Shooter of the Week Award.
Filardi at Syracuse. It's the only candidate this week.
Well, Stanford's running backs also just had a real hell of a day. Cedric Irvin, Champ Hampton, and Cole Tabb, a combined 21 carries for 36 yards. Kobe. Do we have any unsanctioned awards this week, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, the You Died Award goes to Wake Forest.
I think it does. Bit rough.
Goes to Wake. Oh, you know what? Actually, that sucks for Wake, but yeah, the real You Died Award winner is Miami, because their any chances of making it to Charlotte died on Saturday. So
yeah, there you go.
Good thing you're paying your quarterback $4 million a year. That's what I said.
It's going great. Team of the week.
SMU.
I give it to NC State too.
Yeah,
like pulled it off. I mean, made it happen.
Year one.
Yeah,
2 top 10 wins.
Yeah, player of the week. I was gonna say, like, for me again, CJ Bailey and Duke Scott were basically unstoppable for NC State, pulling off an upset of a top 10 team. Mm-hmm. So that's my nominees.
That's a good pick. Mine's Colin Lacey. Ended up with, what was it, all-purpose? 53 receiving. There were 33 on kick return. That's 86. 86 and 106 is a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, it was.
292.
Kevin Jennings was also really good for SMU, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, so we got 292 all-purpose for Colin Lacey. And
yep.
Jennings cooked, yeah.
For sure. Quickly wanted to address this real quick in the comments. Trucker Cards fan, first of all, welcome. Glad to have you. Good to have you joining in. Y'all got 2 goofy ass awards named after Louisville coaches. Why? We've been doing this show for like 10 years, and it was when we started. It was 2016, which was kind of tail end of Bobby Petrino 2.0 at Louisville, and it was around then that Brian Van Gorder was his defensive coordinator, which was, not a bright time. And he's otherwise had times, I think, at least one another ACC program, but also just a general college football meme is Brian Van Gorder. So that's where that.
Yeah. Notre Dame, Bowling Green. He's been bad everywhere.
Yeah. And by the way, I'm wearing Georgia Tech stuff. I'm a Georgia Tech alumnus, but like my secondary fandom is Louisville. So for what that's worth, it's a little bit of where it comes from. And then Bobby Petrino, obviously, that's actually a new award, by the way. That like we just started that this year, is how badly Louisville was quitting, and I came up with that on the spot in like week 3 for someone who quit in some game. I forget who it was, but
yeah.
Welcome to the show. That's how we operate. Just goofy nonsense awards. Didn't really mean for it all to be targeted at Louisville.
Yeah,
not the point.
You think the recaps are goofy? Join us for the previews. We got a sickos. Yeah. We have a sickos segment. We got locks. We got sound effects. We got Scott coming in hot with our Benny G sound. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Hell yeah.
So, subscribe. Hope to see you on the preview.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll see. It's usually on Wednesday nights. Probably this week, but we'll see. Who's to say?
Won't be this week. Well, we'll talk about it.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
Mike, that's all I got. I'm gonna work on getting out of here and come back and preview week 11. Week 11.
Yep.
What we got?
We're getting old. That's what this is doing.
We got 7 conference games in week 11. Yeah, all conference games. There you go. 14 teams in action. 3 teams on bye weeks, all on Saturday. So yeah, either Wednesday, maybe Thursday. We'll see. If you want to find out when the preview is going to be, subscribe, hit the bell icon. You'll be notified on YouTube when we're going to go live. We'd love to have you join us again. Shout out to all the people in the chat here with us tonight. We had a good crowd. It was a lot of fun. So thank you for the people joining us and sticking with us for almost 2 freaking hours here. Good grief.
Scott will be happy to edit this for sure.
Can't wait. And by the way, if you didn't hit this off the first 3 or 4 minutes, audio feed, we're working on it. We'll have it resolved by the time we go live this week to do the week 11 preview. So appreciate the people sticking with us. Also, not 7 conference games. We got a Duke and UConn, so that's out of conference for what it's worth. Yeah, Joe nails it as I mentioned it. Okay, Mike, you want to get out of here and come back and preview week 11?
Yep. Spotify, you know what you can do. I'll let you know at the end of the preview. You know what you can do. Navy Federal Credit Union, by the way, same thing. Mass outage today.
Ironically,
yeah, couldn't use my debit card anywhere, so that was a lot of fun. It made me look poor in front of a lot of people in public, so that was great. Thank you.
The life of a podcaster. You know,
I worked a million hours and can't buy my kid a ticket to ride a pony at a pumpkin patch. Like, what the fuck are we doing? Anyway.
On that note, Mike, you want to come back and preview week 11?
Yep. There's a story behind that. I'll tell you off air.
Yeah, it's fine. Yep. All right. For Mr. Mike McDaniel, I'm Joey Weaver. Thank you guys so much for listening. We will talk to you again very, very soon. Until next time, go ACC.